Breaking news and welcome to This Just In's WWE 2k24 Universe Mode. This is the Wrestlemania event, the finale for the WWE brand for the year. And we are kicking things off here tonight, here in Athens, Greece. Looking at Mount Olympus, where the Warriors shall descend from the peak of the mountain to do combat here tonight in purview of the gods. And first off, we see here coming out here tonight is a man who is a former champion at the championship that he is challenging for here tonight. The third person in Universe Mode to ever hold the Cruiserweight Championship. And the first person we see make their appearance here tonight, that being the Japanese buzzsaw, Tajiri. Tajiri defeated Johnny Gargano in a fatal four-way way back at the beginning of Universe Mode in the first season to obtain that Cruiserweight Championship, but unfortunately had to vacate it 4 days after, as he was unable to successfully defend it. Now having another opportunity to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship here tonight on the grandest stage of them all, and making his return here to Universe Mode. Quite a grandiose and epic and impressive setting here tonight for WrestleMania. As you can see, the Mount Olympus in the background. And now we see making his debut here in Universe Mode, El Desperado. We are seeing many of the juniors and cruiserweights come out of the woodwork to have their opportunity to fight for that championship here tonight. And because of that, we have some fresh faces here, such as El Desperado coming down to the ring with his guitar in hand. Desperado going to look to obtain that Cruiserweight Championship here tonight. And this is a 8-way contest, one fall to a finish for everybody here. This WrestleMania event is the culmination of the WWE brand for Universe Mode. Whilst I am getting into it, whilst these entrances are going on, it's worth mentioning that there will be one more show to conclude the season mode for Universe Mode. That will be AEW Dynasty, which will be the finale for the AEW brand and the finale for the time being for this Justin's Universe Mode. And next we see coming out another person making their professional wrestling debut here in Universe Mode for this Justin's Universe Mode Season 4. And we see Javon Evans. Javon Evans, one of the highest up-and-coming stars of the new generation of wrestlers here, and a way that he could really make a statement, put his name on the map, is by not only competing here at WrestleMania, which is a tremendously big deal for his debut appearance, but walking away with the Cruiserweight Championship would be such a tremendous accolade for such a young man. We will see what he has capable for him tonight if he could walk away with that championship. So there will be one more event following this. AEW Dynasty will be the finale for this Justin's Universe Mode for the time being. So everything really being put on the line here tonight at WrestleMania. This is a true conclusion to the Universe Mode. And now another debuting star that we see coming out down to the ring. This time it is Mistico, a hero of the Mexican people down in Mexico. He is treated like a legend that he is in CMLL. He is one of the biggest stars to come out of Lucha Libre, and now making his appearance here at WrestleMania, attempting to challenge for that Cruiserweight title that he has never held. And as you see, as I mentioned in this matchup here, a lot of superstars making their first time appearance here to try and fight for that Cruiserweight Championship. Another reason for that being is back at Elimination Chamber last month, we did have a Elimination Chamber matchup in which the Cruiserweight Championship was being defended. So we did have a lot of the contenders kind of weeded out from the competition in that matchup, and it was El Hijo del Vikingo who was able to capture the championship, defeating Ilya Dragunov, who was the previous champion. And now we see Speedball Mike Bailey making his presence known, coming down to the ring. Speedball was another person who competed in that matchup, in the Elimination Chamber matchup, but was unsuccessful in walking away as one of the winners. Amongst others, Dragon Lee was in that match. Wesley also was in that match. Speedball, however, unsuccessful in winning there on that night. Chad Gable and Ilya Dragunov, also two others in addition, that on the night came up short and were not able to win the championship. Next we see coming out to the ring, getting a second or even possibly third opportunity for the Cruiserweight Championship, and yet another man who previously has held that championship in the past, Chad Gable. Gable, a man who held that Cruiserweight Championship for 49 days after he beat Roderick Strong for it. He would go on to lose that championship in the Royal Rumble match a few years ago. A few years ago, there was a Royal Rumble event where there were 5 different Rumble matches, one of which to determine who was going to be challenging for the championship at WrestleMania. But in addition to that, there was a openweight Rumble contest as well as a Cruiserweight Royal Rumble contest in which Jushin Thunder Liger was the victor on that night. But that would only last for a day before he lost it to Drago. Chad Gable, however, has reached that mountaintop before. Him and Tajiri, 2 men in this matchup, and Mike Bailey, I should mention as well. 3 men who have previously held that Cruiserweight Championship. Mike Bailey doing so for far longer than the other 2, holding that championship for 300 days. And next we see the homicidal, death-defying Sabu coming down to the ring. An enigma in this sport, a hardcore icon, making his way to the ring and fitting in with this flock of talent here, competing for that Cruiserweight Championship here tonight. Sabu, another man who has never made an appearance as far as I can remember in Universe mode, so this being a tremendous showcase for him to be coming out. But as mentioned, Speedball Mike Bailey, the 300 days that he held that Cruiserweight Championship before he lost it to Ricochet earlier this season, was one of the most dominant champions we had seen in Universe mode. In fact, he was the longest reigning Cruiserweight champion of all time, of anybody here in Universe mode. So to be able to recapture the championship here tonight, you got to think that he's going to be wanting and desperately trying to do so. Now Sabu has entered the ring. I believe we only have 1 or 2 competitors yet to come out before this match, the opening contest at WrestleMania, can officially get started. And here we see the champion coming out to the ring, El Hijo del Vikingo, winner of the Cruiserweight Championship back at Elimination Chamber, a title that quite often does get hot potatoed around a little bit here in Universe mode, but for good reason, because those championships are often defended in multi-man contests quite regularly. Speedball Mike Bailey, the man on the outside, he should take credit for helping Hijo del Vikingo in some aspect, as he was the one to pin Ilya Dragunov back at that Elimination Chamber event. And it would go on to be Speedball Mike Bailey and Hijo del Vikingo, who were the final 2 competitors in that contest before Vikingo walked away with the victory. So you got to think that those 2 are probably going to look to reignite their rivalry here tonight in this matchup that has spanned throughout the year in Universe mode. Now we see all 8 competitors in the ring, all going to square off on opposite sides of the ring, now going for one another. Brainbuster there from Javon Evans. Springboard attempt there from Tajiri, but it's countered. And then a shin breaker from El Desperado follows it up with a back suplex to Javon Evans. Now Desperado power slam drops, guillotining Chad Gable across the ropes here. Now it's Mistico who hits Desperado with that arm breaker. Going to look to soften off the arm for that tilt-a-whirl arm breaker that Mistico is so well known for. And now Chad Gable being sent to the outside at the hands of Sabu. And we see the action spilling to the outside for the first time in this contest, as Speedball Mike Bailey now positioning Desperado on the ropes. Springboard back elbow there from Tajiri into the corner. Follows it up with a knee strike and an axe kick now to Speedball that takes him down. Desperado still positioned on the ropes on the outside, though. Sabu sends Chad Gable into the ring post. Javon Evans nails that springboard moonsault and follows it up with a regal plex to Mistico. Pinfall attempt here in the middle of the ring, but Mistico gets the shoulder up. Desperado yet again going to hit the shoulder breaker or the shin breaker on the outside. Now we see a tag team from Mistico and Desperado hit the double DDT on Javon Evans. Springboard back elbow attempted from Speedball Mike Bailey, but the only person hitting the elbow was Desperado. Trash can gets introduced on the outside there, where Sabu connects with Chad Gable on the outside. Now Sabu going to mix it up with Hijo del Vikingo as well. A great big battle going on the outside here. Sabu looks for that suplex into the neckbreaker, but it's countered now. Everybody fighting on the outside for the supremacy of the position. Step kicks there from Desperado and follows it up with a dragon screw to Mike Bailey. Going after the legs of Mike Bailey is a quite valued strategy from Desperado. Chad Gable, however, back suplex turns Javon Evans face forward from that back suplex position. Gable with a series of offense, a combination wheel kick to finish it off on Javon Evans. Meanwhile, on the outside, Tajiri looks like he's fighting with Sabu up on the entrance ramp there. Something's happened to Speedball on the outside, drops the knee. Oh, and on the inside, we just saw the Gringo Killer from Desperado nailing that vertebraker, follows it up with a butterfly suplex. Pinfall attempts here at the same time from both Chad Gable and Sabu on their competitors respectively. The referee not really sure which one he was counting for in which order. Then Sabu diving from the outside there with a forearm smash to Speedball Mike Bailey. Sabu yet again going to introduce a weapon to this match, the chair that he has utilized so well. And on the inside we see Murphy's Law from Mistico, who follows it up with a Hurricane Rana to Sabu. Chad Gable using his wrestling prowess to take down Hijo del Vikingo. We're going to follow it up now with a dragon screw and driving the knee. A lot of offense that we're seeing being done to the legs here of these competitors, and considering it being a cruiserweight match, you got to think that that is a good approach to try and neutralize the high-flying advantage of some of these. Bridging German suplex there that we see from Sabu onto El Desperado. Pinfall attempt, but it is not to be. Now a moonsault from Mistico, looking to follow that up on Hijo del Vikingo. And now we see Sabu with Javon Evans up in the torture rack position, spins him out for that torture rack portal bomb. Northern Lights suplex there from Chad Gable to Sabu, follows it up with a drop kick to Mistico, but Mistico fired up, returns back to his feet immediately after. Desperado looks to take the advantage here on Chad Gable, but Gable instead going to turn it around into a series of German suplex. Simultaneously, Tajiri hitting that dragon suplex on Sabu, who rolls to the outside. Pinfall attempt off of those combination of suplexes there is broken up, as we saw a Falcon Arrow on the outside from Javon Evans to Mistico. Series of pinfall attempts being broken up on the inside. Now Sabu landing that burning hammer to Javon Evans. Power slam here from Vikingo. Desperado returns to the outside. Gourd Buster from Mistico. Action all around the ring, every single side, which way you look. And there we see the Falcon Arrow yet again from Javon Evans. And now a back suplex that Sabu winds Javon Evans winds him up with that back suplex, landing him directly on that trash can on the way down with a rough landing. And now it's Sabu who's going to the top rope, going to look to dive down, but unable to land or connect with anything there. Javon Evans now quickly getting back into the ring before he is forgotten about here. So there's a back elbows there and a suplex on the outside from Gable. Speedball now being sent off the ropes. Follows it up with a bridging German suplex, does Sabu. Now Desperado gonna send Sabu off the ropes, counters and ducks it and hits him with a clothesline. Desperado nailing that running strike on Javon Evans now. Pinfall attempt and a near fall for El Desperado. Very, very nearly walking away with the victory there after all the damage that Javon Evans is sustaining from nearly everybody here in this matchup. You had to think that could have been close to putting him away there. And now we see in the middle of the ring, electric chair turns him over into a one-winged angel. Does Hijo del Vikingo, who looked to recover his championship against Tajiri with that pinfall, but it is broken up by Sabu, who now gets hit with a cliffhanger DDT at the hands of Chad Gable. Mystico, however, returning back to the inside of the ring to break it up just in time. Hurricane Rana there from Mystico. And neckbreaker to follow it up from Desperado. On the outside of the ring, we saw that drop kick from Javon Evans. Olympic slam here from Desperado, who looks to get the pin on Mystico. Now looking for the German suplex was Chad Gable, but flipping out of there was Sabu, but getting caught by Speedball Mike Bailey. Instead, fist drop there from Desperado. Meanwhile, on the outside, Troit's Wrath from Hijo del Vikingo, showing a great display of power. Speaking of power, Chad Gable able to muscle up Javon Evans, and now able to muscle up El Desperado for two wrestling takedowns. Pop-up Hurricane Rana there on the outside at the hands of Speedball Mike Bailey, a man who really wants to reacquire his Cruiserweight Championship for a second time here in Universe Mode, you would have to think. Slingshot DDT to the inside from Sabu onto Chad Gable, and now perhaps awaiting for Desperado to get to his feet. Desperado reversed on that. Now Chad Gable looks to get the advantage. Desperado, however, hitting a spear instead on Hijo del Vikingo and broken up by Sabu just in time there on that pinfall attempt. Another dragon screw from Desperado. There, Chad Gable takes down Sabu into that trash can, sends the trash can spiraling. Spear takedown there again from Desperado, but catches him off guard is Sabu, who hits the burning hammer that time onto the chair, but following it up is a Hurricane Rana from Hijo del Vikingo, who now gets hit with a bridging German suplex from Chad Gable. What a sequence there that we saw from many competitors, none of them able of which to get the advantage off the gate. Now we see Border City stretch there from Chad Gable. Tilt-a-whirl armbar there from Mistico onto Javon Evans, but both submissions being broken up before they were able to do so. Portal bomb here from Sabu takes Chad Gable down. Now a double Russian leg sweep at the hands of Tajiri and Speedball, who are working together as a unit now. Incredible action here in the opening contest here at Wrestlemania. Now we see Speedball Mike Bailey stealing the finisher of Hijo del Vikingo, and in fact maybe hitting that flamingo driver. But in the middle of the ring now, Sabu gonna lock in the camel clutch on Mistico. Meanwhile, moves being hit all over the ring. Javon Evans distracted, back facing towards this camel clutch. It was a electric chair drop there from Chad Gable, and a huge Spanish fly from the top from Javon Evans to Desperado. Bridging German suplex there from Sabu. relentless offense, and now following that Spanish fly all the way from the top, Desperado being locked in the camel clutch at the hands of Sabu here. Wrenching in on that hold and nearly securing the submission, you would think, but broken up just in time by some of the other competitors in this match. Roll up, following it up with a Yoshi Tonic was Mistico. Javon Evans looked to steal the pin there, but Mistico not going to allow it after achieving such offense. Pinfall attempt now from Mistico on Speedball Mike Bailey, and very, very near fall. Gets broken up by Chad Gable. Chad Gable now going to return to the offense that he was dishing out on Hijo del Vikingo. Series of chops there, and follows it up with a wheel kick to Desperado. Everyone down in the ring, including the referee for the time being. Sabu on the outside, continuing to introduce elements of destruction to this matchup with a ladder now. And instead, Mistico sends him with the tilt-a-whirl head scissors into that ladder that's propped up against the barricade on the outside. Javon Evans going crazy on the inside right now with that steel chair, hitting anybody that moves. German suplex there now from Sabu. And Sabu turns his attention towards Tajiri. Tajiri, however, with the mist in the face of Sabu, spraying that poisonous mist. Returning into the ring is Desperado. Will he be able to break up the pin? No, not in time. We have a new Cruiserweight champion here in the opening contest of WrestleMania. Two-time Cruiserweight champion, and Tajiri has reached the top of that mountaintop yet again here at WrestleMania. In our opening contest, we have seen a title change. There could be very many more of those to come here tonight, but now we move our attention to a dream matchup, a fantasy warfare between Hiroki Goto and Batista. Hiroki Goto, another man who is going to be making his debut here tonight in Universe Mode at this event at WrestleMania, which is a tremendous honor for him. But if anyone is capable of doing so, it's someone with the caliber of incredible matchups and just the portfolio that Hiroki Goto has been able to build himself up. A very deserving man of this honor, and we will see very many matchups here tonight. Super heavyweight Goto coming over the top rope. Going to have to go up against a man who has had very much successful singles victories here throughout the course of Universe Mode this season in many different occasions. Hiroki Goto making his debut here tonight, and such an honor it is. But as mentioned, many exhibition matchups here tonight, and this being one of many that is leading to great excitement amongst the fans. Two competitors we have never seen face each other in Universe Mode, and never seen face each other just in general. Two actors, as it may be. Dave Batista, one of the best actors in Hollywood for my money, and Hiroki Goto. Now he's doing the machine gun. He's doing the machine gun. Hiroki Goto will be appearing in Street Fighter next year. Batista with some prominent victories here this season in Universe Mode, one of which being last month here at Elimination Chamber. He had a victory over Harley Race. A hard-fought contest. Batista throughout the year having many singles matches, but not really achieving championship success particularly. He also fought Monty Brown back at Clash at the Castle and appeared in the Royal Rumble. So Batista has been ever so present here in Universe Mode, but was not the recipient of any championship glory this year. However, instead finding himself in this dream singles matchup against Hiroki Goto on the grandest stage of them all. Exactly where someone the caliber of athlete that Batista is belongs here in front of these fans at WrestleMania. Now we are going to see these two square off for the very first time. Hiroki Goto looks like he belongs in this kind of setting, fighting in front of the gods, in front of Mount Olympus. It looks like Hiroki Goto was born to be here. Now, immediately after that clubbing strike, going to look to go for the pinfall, but Hiroki Goto not want to be disrespected. Immediately kicking out of that pinfall attempt and fighting back. Now Goto, a series of strikes, fighting back towards Batista. Perhaps feeling disrespected. Now kick to the inner thigh. Follows that up with a running strike there, does Goto. Perhaps, as mentioned, feeling disrespected by that early pinfall attempt there from Batista. And now a suplex that he catches him with the knee to the face on the way down. Tremendous offense from Goto. Gets Batista reeling, sends him into the turnbuckle pad here now. But Batista fights out with that back elbow, runs in with a running lariat that takes down Goto. Now it's Batista who's going to look to bring Goto over to the corner, but fighting out of it with a series of elbows once more is Goto. Striking matchup now between these two, and Goto returns Batista now back once more into the turnbuckle pad, rebounds him off the ropes, and a discus forearm smash from Goto, saluting to the crowd and following it up with a springing off of the ropes with a follow-up elbow smash and a wheel kick now to Batista. Staying on the offense is Hiroki Goto here, and I think that will only play to his benefit here as this match goes on. Batista looked to come running in to Goto when he was on Brett's rope, but Goto catches him with the boot to the face and follows it up with a diving knee smash to the face to do so as well. Batista, however, countering out of whatever intended offense Goto had there with that grounded insecurity whilst he works his way back up to a vertical base. Now series of athletic counters from Batista, but really it's just to disorient Goto so that when he comes off of the ropes, he's able to catch him with that running spear. Now we see Goto getting back up to his feet here, looks to catch Batista running into the corner with those boots to the face and follow it up with a sit-out neck breaker. Now Goto picks him back up. Discus punch to the face. And looks to come in running in with that sliding clothesline. Instead, Batista now going to be the one to send Goto off of the ropes. Catches him with that boot coming in. Powers him up. Could be looking for the Batista bomb here. And this could be a very, very quick contest as Batista looking to put away Hiroki Goto, but only a 1 count. Says Goto, gets back up and nails that spinning back fist to the face. Absolutely devastating from the hands of Goto. Now sends Batista to the outside. Batista fighting out of that. Now power slam position brings Goto over and towards the ropes, drops him guillotine yet again across the ropes. Running face wash attempted by Batista, countered by Goto, who instead nails that vertical delayed stalling gourd buster and then a kick to the lower back of Batista. Irish whip rebound off of the ropes, pop up and catches him with that right across the face. Now with the legs tied up from behind, Hiroki Goto gonna look to lock in the not the Tree of Woe, but the Romero special. Submission attempt here from Goto. The power to be able to hit a maneuver like that on Batista is very, very impressive. But Batista now going to catch him coming in with yet another Batista bomb, the second one of this contest. And that really is not a good position for Goto to be in after being hit with 2 of those maneuvers. Now a pinfall attempt, 1, a 2, and another near fall. Another near fall there from, or I should say the first maybe near fall of the match from Batista to Goto. After hitting 2 Batista bombs already, Goto with fighting spirit is going to answer back. Now coming off of the ropes, Batista looked to come in with an axe handle, but Goto caught him with that fist to the face. Now going to pick him up. Power slam position, switching the momentum for the show 10 and pinfall attempt, but he doesn't cover up the shoulders, and in doing so allows Batista to get the shoulder up there. Going to continue on the onslaught here with a series of grounded punches there at the hands of Goto. Now Goto trying to work his way back into this matchup after receiving a combination of Batista bombs, shoves Batista down from the top rope all the way to the outside, and hitting that Shouten is going to be a very big, important maneuver for Goto throughout the course of this match. If he can nail that to precision and then cover and follow up with a successful cover on Batista, that could be the victory that he has in his sights right there. Batista now getting Goto back up to his feet, attempted to bring him back over towards that ring post once more on the outside as these two fight on the outside of the ring. Goto now sends face first into the turnbuckle, or excuse me, into the apron, I should say. Neckbreaker now on the outside to Batista. Now Goto is the one who returns to the inside of the ring first and breaks the referee's count here. Referee, though, looks like he was at a count of 8, I believe. Goto instead going to do the honorable decision by taking Batista and bringing him back inside the ring. But in doing so, perhaps could have allowed an opening there. Yes, and we see it. Batista spearing Goto off of the ropes and sending him down to the outside. This time Goto perhaps not going to be as nice about it. Now here he hits a headbutt from the apron to Batista on the inside. Now going to lock up the legs. Looks like he's got a modified trailer hitch kind of position here, tying up the legs that Batista has utilized so far twice to hit that Batista bomb. Batista, though, fighting out of the submission attempt from Goto. Irish whip now. The hands of Batista rebounding off of the ropes, but no, instead catching with a series of strikes is Goto. I powered him up. Fireman's carry position there. Sent to the outside, reversed from Goto. Goto going to go to the top rope now, countering out of the way of whatever Batista had intended there, but not quite, evading him for the time being, sent from the top rope all the way down onto his back. Pinfall attempt from Batista, but a quick kick out from Goto, gets right back up to his feet, and he's fired up in this exchange. Strike exchange now from both of these people, throwing fists back and forth. Goes Goto, goes Batista. Serious combinations of strikes, now a series of body strikes and an uppercut at the hands of Goto. Turns him around and follows it up with the GTR. Now sends him off of the ropes, and Batista being sent all the way down to the outside. Perhaps Goto was going to look to capitalize on that, follow it up by rebounding Batista off of the ropes and catching him with a finisher, but instead Batista dishing himself to the outside to prolong his recovery after being hit with that move. Now calling him back up to his feet here as we see Goto positioning himself behind Batista to nail that Olympic slam in a position where he will be removed from the ropes, preventing him from reaching out for a rope break. Series of strikes now from both men. Pinfall attempt here from Batista and a kick out from Goto again with authority. running spear from Batista, catches Goto coming in. Now Batista turning him over. Perhaps was going to look for the beast bite there, but now it's Goto who turns Batista around. Nails that Olympic slam yet again. Takes Batista back up now. Fireman's carry. And drops him with the Ushigoroshi across the knee. Follows it up yet again by picking him up. Suplex position. Could be looking for that Shouten again. Now Goto covering the shoulder 2 and 3. Hiroki Goto in his debut performance for Universe Mode has put away one of the most dominant singles performers here on the WWE brand throughout the course of this year. What an incredible showing for Hiroki Goto in his first appearance for Universe Mode. You got to be thinking after a performance like that, it'll be the first of many. Many will be vowing to have Hiroki Goto as part of their show. In doing so, he has made a name for himself here at WrestleMania at the expense of Batista. Now we move on to our next matchup here tonight at WrestleMania, the third matchup of Part 1. That's going to be Mariah May taking on Charlotte Flair. Entering first to the ring is Mariah May, also known as Blake Monroe. She is the newest edition of the WWE brand, and she is the number 30 entrant at the Women's Royal Rumble. And that is where she made her first appearance here for Universe Mode for any brand, was at the Royal Rumble at the number 30 spot. And she was given pretty much every opportunity that you could think of to win that matchup, but instead coming up short to Bianca Belair, who we will see later tonight challenging for the Women's World Championship. The final two in that matchup, Bianca Belair and Mariah May, having an absolute brawl, but in the end, Mariah May unsuccessful in her debut outing to win the Royal Rumble contest. Now tonight she finds herself up against one of the standard bearers of women's wrestling here in the WWE, and to do so she will have to defeat Charlotte Flair, someone who has royalty in the wrestling blood, and someone who will be a very difficult obstacle for Mariah May to overcome here tonight, especially this match being at WrestleMania. You know, Charlotte brings out a whole nother level to her game when at the big time like this. Charlotte, another woman who has competed in that Women's Royal Rumble matchup back in January. She was entered into that contest and eventually eliminated by Rhea Ripley before she could go on to win that matchup or even attempt to do so. She was eliminated at the hands of Rhea Ripley. Blake Monroe, of course, did not have that same struggle because she was introduced at number 30. Charlotte, a very important part of women's wrestling here in Universe Mode, has been around since the very beginning. Tonight, despite not fighting for championship gold of her own, with a headline matchup here tonight at WrestleMania in her own right. The first ever SmackDown Women's Champion here in Universe Mode. That would not be for this brand. That would be the current lineage of the AEW Women's Championship. But nonetheless, Charlotte, a former champion in her own right. In fact, the first to do so. Now we begin. We see how Mariah May will be able to square up with Charlotte Flair, someone who is the proving ground of women's wrestling here in WWE and within Universe Mode. Charlotte was also, at the time when she was part of AEW, she was in the finales of the AEW TBS Championship Tournament that she would eventually go on to lose, unfortunately, to Mercedes Moné. So Mercedes becoming the first AEW TBS champion in Universe mode. Charlotte coming ever so close, and then following last season, moving back to the WWE brand in an attempt to fight for a higher tier championship opportunity. But throughout the course of this year, the championship scene has been quite busily occupied by many other people. I mean, we saw it back at Survivor Series. We had a War Games match on the women's side that featured Athena and her alliance, featuring the likes of Nia Jax, Shotzi Blackheart, a woman who had many run-ins with Charlotte throughout that Royal Rumble match, as well as Chyna on the side of Athena, who would have to go up against the team of Asuka, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, and Kairi Sane, all parts of Damage Control. And that was because, of course, we saw the championship change hands. Asuka losing that championship halfway through the year back at Clash at the Castle to Athena when she cashed in her Money in the Bank following Asuka's successful defense against Chyna earlier in the night. Athena catching her by surprise mid-show, announcing that she felt like she was in the mood for a championship match in the main event. And of course, that is where we got Athena versus Asuka, or excuse me, yes, Athena versus Asuka because of the Money in the Bank briefcase. So a lot happening over the course of the year in the women's division. Quite a crowded scene, and Charlotte now with the victory tonight here could really stand out. Hits that spear on Blake Monroe and then follows it up with a leg pick. Now looking for the roll up. Nope. Instead powers her up. Does Charlotte into that sit out power bomb now. Pinfall attempt here on Mariah May, who's really got to start getting something going here in this contest, quite frankly. She's having a very difficult time battling back against Charlotte's offense here. Charlotte now looking to position her on the ropes, it looks like. Now tilt-a-whirl into the octopus stretch here from Mariah May. Finally, we're seeing some offense from the Glamour. Charlotte, however, a submission specialist, able to counter that into a sidewalk slam. But now instead, Mariah May looked for that possum pin on the floor, looked to lure Charlotte into her trap, and now saying she's smarter. She's far smarter than Charlotte Flair. Perhaps she might be, but she's going to need to show some of those tactics if she really wants to really get something going here in this contest. It's been mostly Charlotte so far. And that missed frog splash is really not going to help. Charlotte instead nailing that forearm smash that takes down Mariah May yet again, and now waist lift takes her down, like lifting her from the waist and driving her down with the Uranagi side slam. Next, Charlotte follows that up with a corner exploder suplex. It's been one thing after another here for Blake Monroe. Unable to catch a break here from the offense of Charlotte. Charlotte now picks Blake Monroe back up to her feet. Gonna look to bring her over to the turnbuckle pad face first. Series of elbows there. Now Charlotte from the top, moonsault. No, a second moonsault to Blake Monroe, who thought she avoided the moonsault. However, Charlotte catching her with the follow-up on that. Now both competitors looking for big moves at the same time. John Woo dropkick attempted by Mariah May. Instead, Charlotte landing that wheelbarrow sit-out facebuster from the back suplex, following that missed attempt on the spinning back elbow. But now Charlotte is going to get Mariah May into the corner, a chop across the chest, sends her back and reeling into that turnbuckle pad in the corner. Series of strikes now. Fighting out of it is Mariah May. Fighting out of the corner now. A slap to the face that has gotten Charlotte Flair fired up. Series of strikes now. 3 combination in a row. 3 unanswered strikes from Mariah May. Now Mariah just taunting Charlotte. I'm not sure that this is a good idea, that you would really want to taunt Charlotte at a time like this when she's clearly already pissed off. Strikes going back and forth. Each woman not letting up. Unrelenting strikes here from each of them, back and forth, one after another. Now there's another strike, and now they're going at it. These two are absolutely throwing caution to the wind here tonight, and Mariah May gets the advantage on that exchange. Follows it up with a Mayday and covers Charlotte Flair, going for the pinfall attempt here. 1 and only a 1 count. Charlotte Flair getting the shoulder back up. As mentioned earlier, Blake Monroe really has to do a bit more damage to Charlotte here. Looks for the Kamigoye, bringing the knee strike to the face. Instead, Charlotte counters that. Waist lift yet again. And drives the knee into the midsection. Yet again, going to work over the leg offense. Turns her around, and now a back suplex yet again into the wheelbarrow sit out, but this time instead Charlotte follows it up with the knees to the midsection instead of turning it over into a pinfall attempt. Rebounds off of the ropes and connects with a running spear. Charlotte is fired up here now. She brings Mariah May over to the corner here. Shot to the midsection. Could be looking for a bow down to the Queen from the second rope. Pinfall attempt now all the way from the second rope, hitting that bow down to the Queen, and a kick out. Somehow a near fall kick out yet again for Mariah May. Now Charlotte from the top looks to go from diving from the top for that tremendous moonsault senton attempt, but it is countered by Mariah May. Irish whip attempt on the outside, but Charlotte brings her back in for a hip toss. Now Charlotte with a knee drop on the outside. Now it's Charlotte calling for Mariah May to get back up to her feet here, to dive down onto her off of the apron. Sends Mariah back to the inside now. Charlotte could be looking to finalize the last statement on a critical win for her here in Universe mode. This would be a tremendous win. Diving crossbody now off of Brett's rope. Mariah May, however, countering though. For whichever woman who walks out successful here tonight, it will be a tremendous victory. Now looking for the Kamigoye there from Mariah May to Charlotte. Pinfall attempt here, and a near fall 2 count from Mariah May, almost securing that victory on Charlotte Flair there. Charlotte slowly looking to pick her way back up to her feet there. Power slam attempt, and it's countered into that reverse DDT now from Charlotte. Charlotte now once more going to go to that waist lift side Uranagi. Now going to work over the leg, perhaps looking for that figure 8 there, but that's how Mariah May tricked her, pulled her in, and dropped her. Now follows it up with yet another Mayday. But Charlotte Flair trying desperately to get back up to her feet. Instead, pinfall attempt here. 2 and 3. Mariah May puts away Charlotte after 2 Maydays here at WrestleMania and picks up the biggest singles victory here for herself in Universe mode so far, and a very important win on her way up the card. Thank you for joining me for part 1. Feel free to join for the rest.